Well, okay, I've changed the channel, and the reason why I changed the channel, it at first it started out as um, Zakia Yasharella, and during that time, I was actually looking. Um, I don't want to use the word find myself because how can you find yourself if you've always been there, so to speak? But to discover my gifts and talents and what to do with this over, 25 plus years of actually in the work, writing curriculum, should I say, for some of Chicago's best and leading well-known organizations, art, academic institutions, and community sites, and helping build their work to live for artists, studios and art festivals for the Salvation Army. I'm just trying to give you an idea of where I kind of come from, my background. And so I do have a degree. My undergrad degree is in, I have a BFA from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. And it was a great experience. I'll probably owe them for the rest of my life. Um, but it was still an experience that money just, couldn't buy. So this is my first time doing it, running a video this way on my computer from my studio. So yeah, it's kind of cluttered back there, but that just lets you know that I work, right? And so the one of the things that I found that is so significant today, and has always been really, because I wish, you know, 20 years ago, someone had told me this when I found myself going out there to become a professional artist, right? And I was doing this even with kids, right? I had a family, and so it came to the point where I either had to decide to um, continue working this 9 to 5 job, which was paying the bills, but that was really basically all it was doing. And but I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilling my purpose. I wasn't being creative in the ways that I knew. You know, I would call him the creator of heaven and earth, given me, to do, because I believe that all of us come into this place, into this earth, onto this earth, however you want to say that, with a talent, right? And unfortunately, a lot of times our talents are buried, and or they're not noticed, right? Or they're not built up. They're not encouraged, right? Because I mean, even this is a interesting story, right? Quick on that. I had a class. It was actually a summer class. I was dealing with what was it, summer school or something like this. This is some years ago, and we were blowing bubbles, or and blowing up balloons to do this craft project. And this kid didn't know how to blow a balloon. He didn't know how to even blow a bubble. It was just amazing to me how this kid is like 8 years old and he doesn't know how to blow a bubble or blow up a balloon. So those are some things that we just take for granted. But, you know, apparently there's a talent there, right? I know that that's kind of lame, but anyway. Um, and so today we want to just cover. By the way, this channel, once again, is for artists and artistic services, to help them discover ways of branding themselves, creative ways of branding themselves, and getting out there on social media, right? Because another part of my talents that I realized a few years back when I was writing for, what is it, Sing Chicago, which is an online magazine, as well as I was writing for um, LinkedIn, doing a lot of the pulse blogging. And I realized that I ended up going into SMMP, which is social media marketing and promotion. And I'm thinking, wow, this is really fun stuff, because I'm not only am I learning more as I look deep into this, getting online, I'm learning that other people need this, and especially artists. But like 15, 10 years ago, whatever, you know, if you were into social media marketing, online marketing, you really knew that where we are today was coming about, right? You knew that. We knew that because it was just there. We didn't know that, of course, the pandemic would be the reason why we ventured out there, but we did kind of know that this was going to happen. So, um, I never really stopped going into learning about social media marketing, but I I think I had to bring things together, right? I had to balance all of these creative juices, right? I had to kind of like find that balance and bring it together so that it'll make sense, and how I could market myself as being, I would say, multi talented, if you will, being able to produce art, and write arts outreach programs, and also, get out there in the social media marketing. So those are three different things, but yet they all tend to kind of work together once you really go into it and find out what it's all about and what you want to do and how you want to do it, right? Because the last thing that we all have is our reputation, right? It's like the reputation is what you live and die with. And so I kind of want to be recognized for all of those things. And so how do you do that? Bringing everything together. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. Hope that makes sense. And we're going to talk about this one is for novice artists today. This video is for specifically beginning artists. And it really doesn't matter what genre of art you're in, right? But I am more, I lean more towards the visual artist, painting, drawing, sculpting, that type of thing, photography. I lean more towards that when I do talk on these things. But there's um, a com- there's a commonality, I guess, that I would use to um, that's practical, right? It's a foundation for all artists, regardless of musician, a performer, or what have you. And so this is actually part one, and I'll have a part two coming out, because there's quite a bit that we should know, but these first 10 are definitely things that we ought to know. For sure. And I wish someone had told me these things. I think I would have been down the line. I'd be much farther down the line. Okay, so now um, let's see here. The first thing that we're going to talk about is practice, right? And these things are not um, in any type of particular order, right? Um, but you can put them in order, but they just matter. That's all I can tell you right now. They just really matter. If you're joining right now, thank you so much. And if you have any questions, please just jump in there in regards to this particular topic, right? And I'm going to try to keep it short. Um, okay, I got something there. Okay, I'll read that. All right, so practice, 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 practice. And that's one of the things that they told us in college, right? It's like practice makes perfect, no doubt about it. Because the more that we practice, the better we get. It's just is what it is. The better we get. And so that means to, if you're a photographer, take your camera with you, go take pictures, snap, snap, snap. If you are if you draw, paint, take your watercolors, take your crayons. I use crayons. I use markers, you know, um, take these things with you. Take your sketchbook. It could be small. It doesn't have to be a big thing, right? And practice drawing people as they're walking in motion. It's just everything that you do is going to help. Every little thing. Don't take it for granted. You find yourself getting better and better, and things become easier and easier to actually do. Right. All right. Number two, sell. Don't give it away. Mm-mm. Unless it's for a cause, right? What we tend to do as artists, a lot of times, especially in the beginning, we tend to give a lot of our work away. Now, I did it. A lot of artists do it. Sometimes it's a good idea to do it if it's for a cause, if it's to help make money for, I don't know, disease, the cancer, even animal shelters. I'm not a real fan of pets, but you know, I got I have feelings for them. So if it can help, to build shelter for them, then okay, I'm all for it. I'll give up a picture or what have you, to help, get that money and that auction, to help them out. So, but don't just give your art value. You did it. It has worth, right? Somebody out here will appreciate your work. You may not appreciate your work right now, but that's called looking for your target market, which we'll talk about that too. We'll cover that and find out some practical tips and stuff like that on how to make that happen, more so even today. All right. But don't just give your work away. Sell it, because your materials and supplies cost, right? Your time cost. All right. Um, Number three, learn how to barter. I Bartering is so, oh, it's just great, because I know it has worked for me, right? It's like, um, I have bartered to create murals, on people walls or garage walls or what have you. And I've actually gotten stuff in return, like if they had a computer that I was interested in, but they were no longer interested in that computer, then can we just kind of barter that? I'll do this and you give me that, but the thing about bartering is that it really should, connect with the value, or the worth of the money. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm trying to, it so if what I'm doing is, say, $500, it turns out that, the cash value would be $500. Where anything that I receive in return, and it's not cash, it has to have equal value, right? And so I would suggest that you look into um, the the practice of bartering. You can Google it and find out as much information about bartering and how that works, because bartering can also be a tax write-off for a lot of people as well. So, uh, and you have to remember that, at one time, that's what we did. We didn't have money, right? We did not have money. And so, how did the people exchange, right? How did they get what they needed in return? That during those days, it was called bartering, right? And that's something that we really should get back into, is the old bartering type of thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's exciting. I've even heard artists bartering for vacations and stuff. I've never done it that way, but I think it sounds great. It's something to think about. All right. So, number four, work under short to long term contracts. Now, this is important, very important. Okay. I work under contract with my mother. Okay. I'm just putting it out there. I work under contract with my father. You know, I work under contract with anyone who wants me to perform a service. And I've been working this way even before I really got out here. And you can Google my name, by the way, Katie Flowers. You can Google me. Hopefully, they got some really good stuff about me out there. So anyway, but you'll get a chance to see my work. And anyway, yeah, contracts. It's not anything personal. Contracts are not personal. Contracts keep you and the other person in line with the delivery, right? The delivery and the deliverables. Okay. So when you make a contract out, it could be just a basic, a standard type of contract. Once again, it's something that you can Google standard contracts for artists, and you can edit or what have you, right? Um, but that's the premise of being under a contract. Okay. And yes, it can get more sophisticated, but in the beginning, you just want a standard contract, one that says, well, I'm doing such and such and such, and I'm doing it in this medium. And if whether or not, you're going to have the patron pay up front, or if they're going to pay half up front, or if they're going to pay a portion up front and some in the middle and some at the end, but these things should be written out. I mean, that's very important. It keeps people from reneging, and it keeps people from having selective amnesia about payment and what was supposed to be delivered. Okay. That's what contracts do. And that is why it's important to keep them, have them always, right? Okay. And I'm probably going to talk more about working under contracts and bartering, even choosing the schools to go to, because sometimes we we enter schools not really understanding what we want out of it. We just know that we want to go to art school and we want a degree from the art school. I mean, but it's more to it than that. But that's something we can cover later if that sounds good. All right. Number 5, sign your work. Now, that's something else that I even not do it today. I forget. Sometimes people have to remind me and like, hey, I looked at it and I don't see your signature on it. And I'm like, oops, oops, oops. But and then sometimes I sign the back because it depends on where the work is going. And I might want to um, do something special, or make a special kind of note on the back of the work to the patron. And so it's up to you, but I definitely would say sign your work, right? And um if you're doing prints, because I also make prints from my work, and as well as graphic and all that from scratch. But anyway, the point is that they end up being prints. And so, but what I end up doing is calling them limited. They're limited art prints, so they come with all my work comes with certificate of authenticity. So you want to do that, especially with your prints, right? Because you want to keep the number of prints that's out there. Now, how do you stop others from stealing your work, downloading your work once you put that work out there? That's another segment, and we're going to talk about that stuff too. It's kind of difficult to stop people from, taking your work, but there are ways that it can be controlled, right? But the point is here is that you definitely want to sign your work, and you want to make sure that you you recognize how many of those prints that you're willing to put out there, right? All right. And there's a way that we can archive our works and stuff like that and take them off, take them out of the, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Remove them so that they can be archived, right? And so if a person sees it, they'll know if they're getting a replica, an authentic replica, or are they getting something that is like bootleg, right? And so we can talk about that also. So What else here? Number six, get a website or and you know a platform, a social media platform channel. YouTube is great, is hot. Um, Facebook, that's still hot. Instagram, lovely. And uh, you know, people are kind of sleeping on Tumblr, but it's really a good place to have your work as well as your blogs, to talk about your blogs and stuff like that. It's really nice to have really all of if you can manage all of those social media platforms and channels, great. I mean, go for it, because it's like the more your work is out there and get before the people, the better chances it is of you're making the right connections. And then get when you do have these platforms and stuff, don't get so weighed down with how many followers, right? How many followers um, you are getting, right? In such a short matter of time or length of time, right? Because really, what you really want organic. You want organic, authentic people, right? Followers. Yeah, I mean, what's the sense in having all of these followers when they're really just more, it seems more pretentious, because how are they helping you? How are they of any value to you? Right? And how you're trying to brand yourself. They're not making comments. They barely come on or read your blogs, or make commentary of your work. And so, me personally, I have three Facebook uh, platforms or channels, however you want to say. Um, but two of them are business, and one is personal, right? And so I try to keep the personal one from the business. That's important. Okay. We can talk more about that in another segment as well, but that is very important to keep those things separate. Okay. Um, Now, on my business, which is actually my business um, FB page is called Funky Sack. That's Funkysak. And it's a long story how that name ended up being that name, but I was unable to change it. But I had accumulated so many followers on that. I mean, like, it's over 2,000. I believe it's close to 2,000 followers, but these are organic followers, right? It's like nobody was paid anything, nobody was offered anything to come in and join in and all that kind of stuff. And there are other artists, actually, because I do enjoy promoting other artists. And so I do use that channel to help um, gain other artists, to build a community of artists and art advocates, right? And so, but it's really good. I haven't actually been taking care of that channel. I just got back in rhythm with it because I had taken, like, actually a 2 year like sabbatical from it, but it's still up and going. Okay. And there are a lot of people that still want to, that are on there waiting for me to just hit that button and tell them to come on into the community. So you really want to take advantage of stuff like that. And just remember, it's not about how many people you get. It's like, even with my LinkedIn channel, I'm finally, getting over that 1,000 mark, and it's unreal how many uh, people that that share the same passion of art in the arts that I do, right? That are asking to become a part of my network, right, on LinkedIn. And so I have some really outstanding connections. It's unreal to me. I'm like, why did they want to? Who am I that they would want to connect with me? But you don't feel that way about yourself, because there, like I said, everybody has. everybody has a target market once they get out here. It's just about time, patience, and putting in the work to find them, right? And there's a way to do that also. Okay, but we're not going to go into that. How are we doing on time? All right, so uh, I believe we're on number 7, which is when you have a social media site or platform, right? Um, you want to make sure that really, if you're just selling your work and your services, you really just want to make sure that you have a way that people can pay you, right? You want to make sure that people can have a way to pay you, and so when you set up your website or your other social media outreach platforms and channels, you want to make sure that people have at least the opportunity to purchase your work, and you want to make it simple. So I'm not all of a fan with PayPal, but I would really, I suggest that you get a PayPal account. Okay. And or a Cash App, you know, or I think it's something called Square Cash or something like that. But you look into all of the available ways that you can um, make a way that people can pay you. That's very important because this channel is about also learning how to brand yourself and learning how to, get the money, right? I mean, like, sure, we've all heard that thing where money doesn't, mm, how is it money doesn't make you happy? Or, well, the only thing I can say is I'd like to try out and see. But, um, you know, that should be your premise, and especially for those of us who attend school, those of us who um, get a degree. This becomes a career, not just a job. It's a career, um, and you want to get paid for it. Okay, just like anybody else, just like a doctor, lawyer, anyone else, you deserve to get paid for it because you pay to get those skills and heighten those skills and develop those skills and make them better. So, I really, talking about it, let's talk about that for just another second. people, some people out there tend to think that as artists, we are to give, once again, our work away. And I want to stress no, no, because like I said before, you invest time, and a lot of us invest time in money, right? And so, and then we'll talk about the materials and supplies, right? And so why should I give my time and my skills away like that? Okay, no, don't do it. And if you're doing it, stop it. Yeah, people gonna probably be pissed a bit about it, but uh, you know uh it is what it is. All right. Number 8, get your work out there, right? Get your work out there. It's important to get your work out there. And the way you get your work out there is start looking for places, online galleries even. Start putting that, using that Google search tool bar, to start doing your investigation on different online galleries. Now, the thing about that too, be very cautious about the amount of money that you're paying to have your work displayed, right? I've never liked exhibits, even back in the day, where they are charging people to show their work. It's like, no, or these vanity galleries that take up to 60% of your pay, of commission pay. Why? You didn't do the work, you know? And not only that, um, it, it, you wanna pay, if you're gonna pay for that type of thing, then you should ask like other artists that you can get a connection with who's shown at these places or what have you. You know, ask them, have they sold anything within this place, for the past 6 months? Um, if an artist hasn't sold anything in the past 6 months, then that's not really a good gallery, right? It's not a good gallery for that artist. It is what it is. How do they do their social media marketing? Are they doing the outreach? Are they helping the artist connect with other opportunities and stuff like that? So these things should be encompassed when you are paying your money, or if someone is getting a commission from your work. For Pete's sake, a lot of these places is just they're just robbing artists blind. So I say praise the Most High that we're finally understanding how to use the internet, and how to use the webs to get out there, and create our own websites and start understanding more about social media marketing and stuff like that. Eliminate the middleman, for Pete's sake. I mean, these people, they're just money grubbing, and then a lot of them are just snooty for no reason. You know what I mean? It's like they chase people away. Okay, but anyway, that's another story. I have a good blog on LinkedIn in regards to this particular topic, but I have a lot of them there. I didn't list the ones in particular that I think that you should look at. Maybe next time I should do that, or I'll put it in the description or something like that. But there are certain things that you should just come out the gate knowing, and especially when it comes down to marketing your work and where your work should be. And when you're going to these places, pay attention to the genre, pay attention to what type or what style of work that they're interested in. um, find out who is in charge of the gallery, and all of that kind of good stuff. Jot them a text, or an email, asking them, to give you some type of idea on what type of work that they're interested in, right? Okay. Because if they're interested in landscapes, and you draw nudes, or you do portraits, they're not going to be interested in your work. So it's like a waste of time. You know, so find these things out just by asking, and doing a search and stuff like that. It'll save a lot of time and headache. All right, but do get your work out there. You know, even if you can put your work in busy hallway of I don't know, a doctor's office, or something like that. I mean, banks even. The employees. There's still a few who actually go in. They like looking at covered walls as well. I'm pretty sure. So it's just something to think about. All right. Now, number 9, before presenting your artwork services. Oh, we just talked about that. So I gave you 2 and 1, right? So number 10, um, one more time, I'm going to stress the idea about bartering, and that's so important. I want you to look into that if you have not. And I will be getting my website up in a few. Uh, yeah, because when I took that sabbatical, I let go of my website also. That's a long story too. But anyway, uh, yeah, I will be putting that website together and up in a little bit, and hopefully you'll come there and you'll join that and be a part of that, and you'll get some more practical tips on and tools, as well as we're going to have some guest bloggers also, that's in the business, and they can help tell you where to find what and who and all that and how. So this is a very exciting journey to me, or part of my artistic journey, and so it's a wonderful thing if you will stay with me on it, and because we're going to talk about everything um, from the artistic journey, the spiritual walk, to making it all happen. As I said before, and branding ourselves, becoming who we are, and focusing on who we can become the best of ourselves. I think that makes sense, on how we can become the best of ourselves, right? Because that's what we want to do. We want to be happy. We want to, we can't expect other people to be our happiness. We are our happiness. And if someone comes along and be a part of our happiness, that's magnificent. But in the meantime, it's all about working on ourselves so that we can become, um, you know, how can I say that? You can't find wholeness when you're broken. And so that's the same thing, in your career as an artist. You know, um, you want the happiness that can come along with it. And take it from me, my experience, like I said, over my 25 years of experience, I'm like in my 50s now. So I can tell you right now, I, I have just become happy maybe 2 years ago, right? And the reason why is because I'm being honest with myself, and I'm being true to myself, and I'm being true to um, the level that I'm at, and where I want to be. So with that, um, this is, like I said, my first video on this subject, and I'll come back with a part two because there's more to it, and I do hope to see more people. And you guys, you leave your commentary, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and best creative regards.